All right, Nick, I'm talking. Just move that center camera up and down if you can hear me on this mic directly. So I'm talking. If you can hear me, just move that center camera up and down. Okay, all right, okay, we're good then.
We pick the topic, you pick the song. It's Ocho Loco on KUTX 98.9, the Austin Music Experience.
Buenos tardes, amigo. Hola, my good friend. Cinco de Mayo's on Tuesday, and I hoped we'd see each other again. You killed my brother last winter. You shot him 3 times in the back. In the night, I still hear Mama weeping. Oh, Mama still dresses in black. I looked at every fiesta for you. I wanted to greet. Maybe I'd sell you a chicken with poison interlaced with the meat. You look like my brother.
to Rehearse Quick Draw. Thank you so much for signing up and taking this opportunity to practice your quick draw skills. We have some amazing instructors that teach at Chesapeake Fine Arts Studio that are going to lead a discussion today about the collection of art that was completed just 2 hours ago. And just a reminder, my name's Marie. I'm the event coordinator for Plein Air Easton, if anyone is wondering, and you've probably gotten an email from me. Also, FYI, JFM Frames is upstairs in the balcony. If anybody needs any frames for Saturday, if you're participating in Rehearse Quick Draw tomorrow, if you just need frames, he's got some great wholesale deals up there. So without further ado, Joanna Barnum is going to lead our discussion today, and welcome and thanks again.
Hi, everybody. Well, this is exciting. So before I get started, I want to take a second just to remind you all, we're going to be doing a raffle in addition to the merchandise awards today. So on your chair with your flyers, there was a little blank piece of paper. And if you didn't do it yet, if you would write your name on that piece of paper and throw it in the purple bucket that Bruno has. This is for registered Rehearse Quick Draw artists only, so if you're here as a guest or a spectator, you don't get to do the raffle. Okay, and we'll do that at the end, so I'll give you a chance to get those in while I talk. So first, I wanted to say to everybody here, congratulations for participating today. So, you know, some of you may be new to plein air painting or new to the quick draw experience, and so to you guys, I say congratulations for trying something new and out of your comfort zone. That's a big deal. And then to those of you who have more experience but have decided to take this as an opportunity to get feedback on your work, congratulations to you also. So I hope to see you all Saturday now that you've had this experience today to kind of get a little more comfortable with the quick draw experience. I really hope that you'll come compete on Saturday and maybe sell your work, maybe win a prize, and find that there's really nothing to be scared of. So I have some general words. Let me see if I can. This is a little high. I'm short. Okay, that's better. So I want to just give you some general thoughts, and then I will call out a few pieces that are going to get merch awards and certificates as some particularly strong examples today. So my number one piece of advice to all of you is to paint a lot. No matter, you know, a teacher or an opportunity for critique can be really helpful because it can give you an idea of what things you need to be focused on and can guide you along. But you don't need a teacher there holding your hand to have permission to work on your painting. Whatever advice that you get, you need to put that into action. You need mileage on the brush. You know, when I work with students, the ones that progress the fastest it's not just about listening to the advice of the teacher, but it is about implementing it over and over again. Painting on your own, not just painting at events, not just painting in the classroom, but just having a dedicated practice. That's the number one way that you improve as an artist. The other thing I'd like to say to you is that the most accomplished competition painters, you know, ask any of the people who are competing in the main event this week, ask the person who wins first prize. They are passed over for awards, they are rejected for events more times than they win or they are selected for something. That's just the reality. And they've painted way more paintings than they've ever sold. It doesn't matter how good you are, how experienced you are. Winning a prize is great, but that's not the measure of your value as an artist. You know, the real importance is painting. The competitions are exciting. The most important thing about the competition to me is the community of plein air painters coming together. So remember that you're not competitors, you're a community. You need to celebrate each other's successes. And you need to look out for each other. You know, it's tough out there in the heat, especially at this event. Make sure you're drinking water, you're staying safe, make sure that your colleagues are safe. I think that painting can be a really solitary practice a lot of the time. You can feel very isolated and alone. And I think that is one of the beautiful things about plein air, is that we have this strong community around it, and it's a time to come together and see we're all in it together. We all have the same struggles. So the pieces that I'm going to recognize, first I'll speak generally about some of the things that I think they all do well and that are important to keep in mind in general. The number one thing that, for me, I think a strong painting it needs to meet in addition to whatever else it does, and the number one thing that I often see failing for painters that are trying to get better is drawing. And when I talk about drawing, I don't necessarily mean the practice of line with a pencil or a paintbrush, not linear drawing, but drawing as in the fundamental structure of the scene, the accuracy of the bones of it. That does not mean it needs to be a specific style. It doesn't mean things need to be outlined. It doesn't mean it needs to be super realistic or super tight and detailed. You can have accurate drawing and you can be very loose and expressive. It just means that the fundamental geometry of the scene, the basic angles, the basic structure of things has to be right. You know, if you don't have that, you're kind of hanging curtains in a house that's falling down. You know, sometimes I see weak drawing even in the paintings of people who are quite experienced. So it's an important reminder, I think, to everybody. You always need to be working on your drawing, and it's an easy thing to practice. You know, you can practice your drawing in a sketchbook 10 minutes a day. You don't have to be out in the field doing a finished plein air painting to be practicing that skill. So that's number one for me. The other things that I think are really important are managing your values and your overall relationships. The big relationships are more important than tiny details or thinking about objects as separate individual things. It's really about the overall value structure of the scene. The other thing when it comes to awards and events, right, so you meet sort of a certain level of competency in your drawing and your paint handling and your value, and then it starts to become about personal voice. So the pieces that I want to kind of make note of today are, for me, artists that in that work, in addition to sort of mastering the fundamentals, are starting to get to a place where they are expressing a personal voice and a certain confidence in their approach. So, you know, that certainly needs to be built upon your fundamentals. You need to master those fundamentals, and then you start to develop a unique voice and viewpoint as an artist. So let's see, what order shall I go in? The first award I'm going to give out is a fourth place Jurors' Choice Award, which is sponsored by Chesapeake Fine Art Studio. Actually, and this is good for taking any one weekly class with any instructor at Chesapeake Fine Art Studio. And actually, I'm not sure of the names on all the pieces, so I'm just going to bring forward the piece, and if it's your piece, you can come up and be recognized, and then I will talk a little bit more about your piece. Or I'll just, you know what, I'll just stand next to it. I won't take it off. Right, so Tom Ritchie. And what stood out to me about this piece is that the really confident paint application in the mark making was the paint was applied very boldly. It's not about necessarily tiny details or tight rendering. It's about the overall energy of the piece. And of course, but despite that looseness, there's nothing that reads as wrong. It doesn't feel inaccurate. It's just loose. It's a loose impression of the scene. It's got a good sense of light, and it's got a really personal, bold color sensibility to it. I'm not talking into the microphone. Did everybody hear that okay? All right.
Actually, could you talk into the mic?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll stand here and talk about it. Sorry. Talking about new experiences, I teach a lot, but I'm not usually in front of a big group at a microphone, so that's new for me. I will try to remember to speak into the microphone. So, so fourth place, the... and then get tangled up in it and fall down. Okay, so the fourth place juror's choice for the Chesapeake Fine Art Studio certificate goes to Tom Ritchie. And what I think is working well in this piece is the really bold application of paint. It's a loose interpretation of the scene, but it still reads accurately. Bold use of color and a sort of really personal color sensibility. So for me, overall, the piece is about energy. It's about personal energy. Would you like to come up and receive your... Congratulations.
Thank you very much. There is. Yeah. Garden Shed.
Garden Shed is the title.
It's in the garden over here. On the historical.
Oh, wait. Hey, Tom, I handed you the wrong thing. I'm sorry. This is it.
Okay.
Here you go.
You. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. So third place is a merch award. We have some bags of merch for third, second, and first. Third place is this scene here. Who is it? Raise your hand. Jill. Jill Glassman. And so again, I think this was executed with a great deal of confidence. I think that it has detail where it needs detail, but it's not overdone. The color sensibility, there's a great relationship between the red underpainting and the green foliage, and then the teal signage here. There's some relationship between that and the green in the tree, but it also reads as distinct. And then the careful use of the brightest brights in the painting, sort of making this relationship here in the foreground and the midground. And then the strong dark anchoring it here in the foreground. So I think the values were managed really well as the color. Congratulations. So second place is this piece here by this piece by Gwen Parker. And you'll have to take a chance when we're done to come up and get a close look at this, because it's an intimate piece that really invites you in and that you really have to come up close to appreciate. But she packs so much into a small area, right? So you don't have to have a huge painting to make a statement. It's about making use of the area available to you. And to talk about drawing, this piece does take a linear approach to drawing. And as you've seen, you know, all these pieces are different in their, the voice of the artist, but have a strong fundamental structure to them. You know, the drawing here is spot on, including figures in the scene. The figures work well. It has a nice focal point of this figure in the foreground, and the eye moves back in space into the scene. And then there's this great thing happening where there are these little red spots that kind of move your eye around here. Congratulations, come on up. Congratulations.
It's called Copley because it's of Copley. Okay. Thank you.
So first place is going to go to this painting here. Jane, that's you, right? Jane Knighton. And so again, each of these pieces has had a very different personal voice. The paint application is sort of unique to her, but the fundamental structure is accurate, and her color sensibility is personal. It's very subtle. They're not, you know, right in your face colors, but there are very subtle differences in here, shifts between warm and cool, the relationship between the pinks and the greens, and the stronger red and the stronger green. And then this figure has a great feeling of motion. I think sometimes figures in plein air scenes can be risky. Sometimes I see, and actually we just had two pieces with well done figures. Sometimes I see pieces that are otherwise successful and the figure, the handling of the figure brings it down. But I think that it's, you know, it's not super detailed, but it's stated in a gestural way that you feel a sense of that person moving down the street, and it reads accurately, even though it's simply stated. And there's a nice relationship between the red shirt and the red and the flag, having a dialogue here. And then this lovely, really warm sunlight on that column. Congratulations.
John on South. Thanks. Thank you.
So let's do our raffle now. So we have 2 Chesapeake certificates to raffle off. Did everybody get a chance to put their name in the bucket? Okay. You're going to pull them out, Bruno?
No, I'm just mixing them up. You're pulling them out. That's your job.
Okay.
The winner is?
So the first certificate is going to go to Jill Glassman. Okay. And the second certificate is going to Cheryl Himmelwright. All right, let me look at the time real quick. So it's just 1 o'clock, and we have until about 10 of 2. I'm going to conclude with my sort of comments to the group as a whole, but we have enough time now that if anyone would like to speak individually about their work with me or with Bruno, you can, I guess the way we'll do this is if you would if you're not staying for feedback, then you can go ahead and take your piece down and leave the stage. If you are going to stay for feedback, then leave your piece up, and I think we'll start at opposite ends, and we'll kind of kind of call you up to meet with us when we get to your painting. Yes? Sure. Yes? Uh-huh. Why don't I talk with you individually about it, because I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I'd rather do sort of yeah. You got the list for me? Tom's got it. All right, thank you. Okay. Or if I could copy it down, because then I'll double check the spellings while I have a chance before I give it to Hyla. Yeah.
Okay, I got the first one, the first place. Jill Glassman, Glassman. And then Cheryl Himmelwright.
She just won a
Scholarship.
yes. Okay, so
Oh, do you want everybody?
I want everybody.
Oh, okay. Then Jill Glassman was third.
Right.
Second was Gwen Parker. Third was Jane. And that's fine. I brought. Yeah. First was Jane. Knighton. Oh, Knighton. And then Cheryl Himmelwright won the scholarship, and Jill Glassman won the scholarship. J.A. Cool. You got him?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, sorry.
All right, cool. Sweet. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Hey, I got a little nervous talking to you.
It didn't show at all. Okay. And I spent 30 years as well in the classroom, so you did a great job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate what you said.
Yeah, well, I know you've been doing well lately. You've won awards with the
Yeah, and I'm at local color too. So. Are you at any event? Are you juried in this year?
I'm not, no. I'm a Chesapeake employee.
Right. So how's it going at Chesapeake?
Okay. It's a bit far for me, so I feel like I don't have a lot of draw in that immediate region. Sort of,
Right.
So I'm working on trying to build that sustainability.
Are you in Colorado?
I'm in Harford County.
Hartford, okay.
Yeah.
I'm in Howard, so I have pretty long track. So Hartford's pretty far.
Yeah.
But I think you made some wonderful comments about everybody.
Well, thank you. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I don't sound like a blathering idiot.
No. Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna, I figured the stuff that wanted to keep stay up and I would start at one end and I would start at the other and kind of meet with people and just to try to have some order to it.
Opinions with figures are just fun.
I always ended up at the end on like the mall, and there's like so much for the phone. That's like, the more it cuts, the more
Rhonda? Who's Rhonda? Hi. Would you like to discuss your piece?
Well, you can tell I had fun with orange, as they say. So did you come last night?
No. I wasn't going to come up with
Uh-huh.
Oh, I bet it was. I bet it was fun.
It was like a freaking painter's carnival.
Is that right? You did it?
Well, you know, I like your composition.
I'm just telling you, I'm just really trying to figure out my thoughts.
I think Saber's bright colors for kind of like Thomas did on his,
Which bright colors?
like the orange. Like you probably had a shadow side right here.
I did. So showing more into the screen.
Yeah, like a nice shadow almost falls
Right.
into this value.
Yeah.
It needs to be darker.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
So
about.
this edge, see here?
Yeah.
That needs to be, that needs to be darker too. This needs to be a darker, so you get this curve.
So that goes back.
And this here is too deep. That's too dark coming to this. When in reality, it's this color.
Right.
Oh, yeah. See that color? That's what the shadow is.
That's fun.
Yeah.
He knew he would. Oh, God.
I didn't know.
How
you doing?
I did
Hi, how are you? I'm good. I'm going to see you again, I think.
That is my darkest dark. So that one's right. Middle.
Yeah.
actually just a little part of that one.
So, are you here all weekend, John?
I'm not staying in town. I'm driving in each day. So,
Oh,
but I'll
okay.
see if I can find you before I drive home later. But let me get to
I won't be
have
far.
to.
Thanks.
So,
Don't we all?
Again, your little some of the darts in here need to pop a little bit more, and it's okay to go back in your dart and even use a scribe and pull up the paper and come back up to get some and wash some of this out to get some of the reflection of the sky that you probably see. And it's okay to, I would push the colors up a little bit more. And I know there's a lip here, correct? You gotta hit that dark again. I know. Yeah, these are wonderful blocks.
And that's the whole block?
Yeah. And then you put your knife under here.
Oh, and then the next one's under it. Ooh, I like that.
You don't have to worry about stretching it. And arches is baby.
Okay, I took a lot of masters.
You said that's good practice.
Where did she go? That was fun. Oh.
I like the little structure.
This somewhere. This
It's a hoot. I just work on these patterns here a little bit more because this is starting to get me over to here. So now I want to go, where am I going to go back in? Oh, all right. Does that help? People, I love you all, but you know, I know she's the first time. I understand. You made your little. Don't worry about the texture. Just worry about getting the color right, locking it in. You can always go back in. Right. More time. With your greens, they're fine. You just need to work on your get your drawing right, and then go from there. But there's more brick color. That help? Tricky color. Elvis has left the building. No, sorry.
I'm planning on it. Oh, great. Let me know, because I'm planning on it.
Gotta be darker. And I'll tell you the truth, start here, top here, go down, you take a little dot, pull it down, one drag, this thing will really start doing this. What's that? On what? This color darken its own. Pull it down.
some of those Victorian house songs.
I have just started.
I like you.
This is really
Oh, yeah, very nice.
Moleskin, that's great. If you like smooth wallpaper, I love it. I love that paper.
Yes,
That paper is
yes.
very, you know, a lot of
Very
people
good.
you can't go back over it, and this one you can without it becoming.
Exactly.
So even though it feels like
It's called getting in their heads.
Yeah.
she was here this morning, she checked in. It's the biggest public, yeah. It's the whole city.
Feedback from you.
Exactly.
You paid $30 for it.
That's what I asked for.
So do I need a...
Anything else? Anything else?
Taking me an hour to get here. I know, I'm washing my jeans because the next
But
week...
down at air conditioning.
So I washed my jeans. Joanna, I heard you did a wonderful job.
My mother would strike me dead from heaven.
You know, we're in a different
Yeah. Yeah.
age bracket.
Oh my goodness.
Some.
I remember they came and I said, oh, there's the new citizen.
I have never.
I'm sorry. They're old. I wouldn't want it. I said I wouldn't want it. Goodwill. For $1. And you're spending $95?
Not my money.
No. Hey. Yeah.
How's your arm feel?
It's getting there.
Because every day I'll go out and I'll paint. I'm like, not as sore.
Well, what's his name's been changing my dressing for me. Kids with a Z. He's painting here.
Yeah.
I forgot. He never sees me. That's it. Say it again.
Zufar?
Zufar. Yeah, he's a doctor. That's what I call it. So he's changed my dressing because it's got a drain in it. And you gotta be real careful when you take it off, and I can't do it with one arm, one hand. So I'm leaving for Ireland next week
Oh, neat.
for Art and Open. So I'm like,
Gotta get this better.
yeah. I want the drain out by the time I get. Yeah, I'm on these antibiotics are knocking me.
Knock it out.
Yeah,
Knock everything out.
yeah. Well, to say the least.
Yogurt.
Drink yogurt. I'm taking biotin too.
Yeah. Because it'll knock the good stuff out.
Yeah,
of the
I can't afford that.
No, you can't.